Conversations on a Bridge. There are 2 Conversations on a Bridge videos because I performed in some of the scenes and I directed some of the scenes. This is the video on the performing. The 2 scenes that I performed in were Haley Thompson's Bridge as voice, and I performed in Adrian Fairbridge's Magic Penny as Dean. In Haley Thompson's Bridge, which was directed by Paddy Broderick, I was an unnamed voice that spoke to the main character. The show was about a young mother who was a student who was in an abusive relationship, and she discussed this with her friends and was debating what to do, and he grew nasty, but she didn't know what to do about with the child, and she felt guilty because it had been an unplanned pregnancy and so on. And the voice that I played was reassuring, but also very upset by what was happening to her. Paddy told me that he gave me the part because he said that in the audition I had a very soft, soothing voice to it, so I tried to maintain that, but also would become quite upset. He told me that he wanted to show that the voice was a romantic interest, so I made the voice grow quite upset when she was getting upset, genuinely concerned, and at moments where she was talking about jumping off the bridge, to be quite panicked and not want that to happen. The staging of it was, Paddy always wanted me in the dark, and we struggled to do that with the staging, to keep me out of the spotlight, so I moved back as possible, and I would always be on stage. And I didn't freeze, but I was watching what was happening. I was doing as little as possible to not draw attention, but I would look and look really sympathetic and torn by what was happening to Sam, the main character. When we performed the show at the Northern Stage in Newcastle, the stage was that small that there wasn't room for me to step back, so I was actually off stage looking on. Until the very last scene where I walk on and hug Sam. In Adrian Fairbridge's Magic Penny, which was directed by Leo Howes, that was a duologue with Abigail Sharkey, which was a comedic piece, and that was about Dean, who was a homeless busker on a bridge. A very funny guy who throws all of his money into the river, hoping that making an unnamed wish, and it's not named in the scene. And then he meets Joe, who's a millionaire. Joe gives Dean his money, and then at the very end, Dean leaves with the money, but the twist that Leo put on it was that rather than leaving with the money, Dean throws, or it is hinted that he was going to throw the money into the river in the hopes of getting more back, since it's so much money. And he always repeats that he feels like the more he gives, the more he will take back. So if he does this with £250,000, which is the amount in the play, he will obviously get lots back. That was very fun to play. It was very farcical, very silly piece. There was a he plays the ukulele when he's busking, and I wrote a silly song called My Little Red Ukulele that we played in the final piece, and people found very funny. I get heightened the actions a lot. I strutted a lot, lots of moving about like this, and Leo kept stressing that although he is homeless, Dean thinks he has the best life in the world. So at points where I get a sandwich out with a bin, I turn to the bin, yeah, and really love this this lifestyle and brags to Joe saying, I can get my food from there. And look, I've got enough money that I can buy a coffee and a newspaper, and then it becomes even more ridiculous when Joe comes in and Joe tries to help, because Joe misunderstands that when Dean is throwing money in the river, Joe thinks that Dean is trying to jump in the river. And then Joe becomes stuck on the bridge after getting upset because Dean has a go at her, because it was originally a male part, and then because Abby played it, we had to change a lot of it, because a lot of the lines said "man," "hey man," "get out of my way, man," so we changed a lot of that. And in the end, it was a really funny performance, and I had someone tell me that it was his favourite.